Good afternoon. I'm Ilias Papageorgiou of Soil from Brooklyn, New York. And I will present Logan in the workspace category today. But before that, I would like to introduce a few of our projects. That is not like a random selection, but I think they have some relevant qualities and ideas with the office space that I will show later. So very quickly, this is 2010 MoMA PS1 installation. There, we took a rigid system, a Cartesian grid, and tried to sort of transform it into a weak structure where its users are sort of always responsible for the stability or collapse of the system. This is a project in Seoul, in Korea, gallery. It's a Kukje gallery, and it's situated in a historical context in Seoul. And what we did there was we shrink wrapped the building with a chainmail mesh to sort of diffuse and soften the boundary of the building to fit into that neighborhood. This is California. It's a Grand Canopy, a museum of art at the UC Davis campus, which is currently under construction. And there, the overarching move is this sort of large canopy with spaces underneath that differentiate the spaces, that they take shape from patterns of light and shadow. And this is a proposal for a competition for a square in Bahrain. There we used a series of fabric walls to create these sort of diverse rooms in the square that are both connected and disconnected, but they sort of reflect on the sort of multiplicity of voices and condition there. And now getting into the project itself. So Logan is a video production company. They are based both in Los Angeles and New York. We designed their New York headquarters. And their work consists of game trailers, commercials, feature films, and it's all done completely digital. It's all virtual. And so when we got this commission, we sort of started thinking, what is the current situation in the work environment? And one can say the office is today is where we are. The office is like everywhere, right? We just need a computer, a connection, and we can transform every single place into our office. So in this kind of context, one can say that this sort of type of hierarchies are sort of not valid anymore, or this. And you can also say that the sort of this idea of a personalized cubicle is not anymore an expression of sort of individual identity in the office. Neither sort of our corner office is anymore sort of an indication or measure of status, power, or productivity. Interestingly, I ran into this research recently from Harvard Innovation Lab, where they sort of study this effect of these technological advancements on the desk sort of surface itself. So this is 1980, first personal computer. Our desk is still filled with a lot of stuff, with a lot of tactile stuff that serve different functions. And this is early 2000s when we see some of this stuff start migrating into the computer screen. And we can say that this is potentially can be the office today, completely clutter-free and empty. So this sort of relationship between the virtual and the physical has been one of our preoccupations in our office, and to sort of study what is the relationship between us and our physical world around us, between us and the stuff we can touch in a way and feel. So, and does architecture has a role in this kind of context? And so rather than a nostalgic approach, we saw new possibilities for architecture to sort of recalibrate this relationship between the two. And we sort of imagine a more sort of sensorial charged environment that can sort of increase an awareness of the physical world around us, and at the end, hopefully generate a more mysterious, adventurous, enticing, and inspiring place. So this is the site. It's a typical loft space, cast iron building in Soho in New York. And this is the plan of the space. The interesting thing is Logan's working model consists of only very few full-time staff. So they have only 3 or 4 executive producers in their staff, and the rest is all mobile consultants and freelancers that they join the company on a project basis. So the question became how you design an office to be small and large at the same time. How can you make an office contract and expand very easily without feeling at times empty or completely packed. So this is the proposed plan. We basically inserted 2 very long desks, 22 meters each, and then we divided the space with a series of fabric walls that create a smaller, more intimate realms within the office, but on the same time, because of the translucency of the surfaces, the sort of idea of a notion of shared working space is maintained. And then on the edges, on the L-shaped edges of the plan, we placed all the service functions, like the entry reception, editing rooms, kitchen, mechanical room, server room, and photo studio. And this is a view of one of the 2 spaces. You can see here the long desk and the fabric walls that run parallel to the desk, completely seamless, 30 meters floor to ceiling, with a height of around 4 meters, and a luminous PVC stretched seamless ceiling that generates completely even light. And so while you're in one of the 2 spaces, you see shadows, ghosts, and figures activity in the space beyond. These desks sort of host all the different operations of the company, from design, production, administration, meetings, literally everything. So that said, at the end of each desk, the desks are intersected with glass walls to generate private offices that are really on part of the same desk. The desk, the structure literally cuts through the glass itself. And the idea is that these offices had to be only acoustically isolated for some phone call and stuff, but there was no reason for the people to be not seen or be in a sort of really private office. And the same kind of method was used to create a conference room on the other side. So this is one of the experiences in the space, and it's interesting. You get this ambiguous experience, an illusion that sometimes you're looking into a reflection, because the 2 spaces are completely symmetrical to each other. They're identical. So you're not looking at a reflection, you're actually looking into the other space, and that creates this sort of illusion. And I particularly like this photo where you can see the 2 doors sort of mirrored, and even the sprinkler heads mirrored. And I would say that this picture summarizes the experience in the space, where these sort of layers of fabrics, the completely even diffused daylight and artificial light, create this environment of abstraction. It's like a dreamlike sort of surreal experience where the depth of field is continuously shifting, and your focus is completely shifting, and you get very different perceptions of scale, proximity, connection. And also these fabric walls, they act as projection screens that they capture the variations of daylight during the day. So you always sort of maintain this awareness of the environment outside. And I also like this image because you can see actually how the wall is now colored depending on the specific time of the day, and also I like that this image is, you can see this relationship between the old and new, and you see the ghosted old building behind. It's almost like an X-ray into the old building, and you get this sort of sense of these radiator pipes and that sort of history of the building. And another important function was that these layers of fabric diffuse completely the daylight, and that helps to avoid glare on the computer screens. And actually, you know, speaking to some of the guys that work in that space, they were completely happy to have that, because they're typically used to work in this very dark environments, people who work continuously rendering in computers. And just two more spaces from this service area I mentioned earlier. This is an editing room for the final editing, and it's all wrapped with custom this custom ripple sort of pattern felt that works for sound absorption, because this has to be a completely sound isolated room. And this is like the overview of the space, and I think this is my last slide. Thank you.